All right, so I'm going to do this video, which is actually a pretty good day. About to pop a cold one, which this is a Sessions. I have not had any of that wine today because I'm telling you, that stuff. I had some later, like, I don't know, the other day. After it had been in the fridge and everything, it's still just stout. So I made sure that I didn't have any of that now because that stuff, I'm not kidding. And I'm someone that can do fairly well. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not, just slinging a beer every day, but I can do okay. And that wine just was, I was done. Maybe I drank it too fast or something. I don't know. But anyway, that's not what this video is about. You guys don't really care about that. That's old news. Do join our Discord because there's a lot of stuff going on there. Actually, I need to update something real quick on the Discord so that folks kind of know about it. We've kind of mentioned it too a little bit here and there. So there's some people that kind of know about this already. But Noel and I, own a house in New Mexico. Excuse me. So we own a house in New Mexico. And hold on. Sorry. Because if I don't type it and not say something, it's going to be all jacked up. But anyway, so we own a house in New Mexico because there was a company I worked for, and I moved from Indianapolis to Albuquerque. And so when I was there, we got an apartment for 6 months. I told her I'm looking to get a house because prior to that, I owned a house in Indianapolis. And so I had sold that house a few months prior to having to relocate, right? And so the house I had in Indiana was massive. Of course, those were vinyl villages, so you can get a big house for nothing. Well, I mean, it costs money, but I mean, it's not like here. So I had a pretty decent house, brand new. I think the house was a 2004, something like that. Oh, but it was fairly new. It was only a few years old when I got it, and so it was really really nice. So very big house, had a lot of space, but I had started getting a few things here and there. I changed things and updated things. I was younger then, had more ambition. So put in new carpets, new flooring, different things. It was really, really nice. We sold that house, and then I was in an apartment for a little bit, back up on the north side of Indy. And once I had to move to Albuquerque, we moved to an apartment right by Cottonwood Mall in Albuquerque. And I chose that location because Noelle wasn't working. And I figured that during the day when I'm working, I would have the car so she could easily take Zoe, because that's the only kid we had at the time. She could take Zoe to the mall. She could just walk there, literally from the apartments to the mall was like a 10-minute walk. I mean, you could see the mall from the apartment. So it was a nice apartment, nice mall. But I signed a 6 month lease because I knew that I was going to definitely um, get a house. That was the number one goal. So we ended up getting the house. House was really really nice. Had a pool and everything. Right. We run around, looked at different locations. We settled on this. It was in Rio Rancho, really nice area. And so we had that house. Right. I had that house for a bit. I left that company that transferred me there after a year. Then after that, we ended up, I had other jobs that I worked for. And then a couple of years went by, and Noel ends up getting a job at University of Washington, so in Seattle. So then I was like, I'm down, right? I had gotten laid off from another company that I was working for. So it was perfect because this is a long story. So I'll do a story time one of these times about it. But I got laid off from that company, and I knew I was going to get laid off because Some of the people that worked there was kind of butthurt. And I'm talking about different levels. Some of the employees that I had were butthurt, and then I had a person that I was working with that was the same level as me that was butthurt. So the people that were under me were butthurt because I just came right in, fresh off the street, and got a position that they wanted. They didn't care that I had the education or the experience. They felt like since they had been there for 6 months longer, that they felt that they should have got the position, right? The other person was a bigot. The one that was in the same, he was a peer. He was just straight up bigot. He didn't really want me there. So, anyhow, I knew that they were all plotting. But I was cool with that because at that time I knew that Noelle had gotten a job. We had already flown to Seattle. She had already did all the interviews. And at this whole time, we knew that the company was downsizing. We knew that they were going to cut people. And they went around and did all the stuff that they did, and they wanted to cut the people they wanted to. Well, regardless, I was going to stay as long as I could because I wanted to collect unemployment. Might as well. So that's what I did. I wrote it out. So actually, when we left Seattle, they told her prior, right as we were leaving that hotel, that she was hired. It was the best news we got getting on the plane. I said, "This is my home now." It was insane. I was like, this can't be true. So then we didn't even want to go back to New Mexico, but we went back and I held it all in. I didn't tell no one that she got the job. So to make a long story short, the HR brings me into the room and they're telling me this whole thing. They wanted to give me a position less than what I was doing. And I'm like, you got to be out your mind. I ain't taking a pay cut for nobody, and I ain't taking no job that is less than what I'm due. So I let them actually go through their whole spiel because had I quit ahead of time, I wouldn't have been able to get unemployment like that. But since they basically, there was a job title that they did away with. They cleared that title out, and those people were either supervisors or they just left or they got a lower position. So they were trying to give me a lower position. I'm like, I ain't doing that. Sorry, not going to work. So I told the HR guy, I'm like, I'm sorry all this is, I'm sorry you don't need to tell me the whole spiel about, this and that and the other thing. I'm like, it doesn't really matter. I said, I'm not going to be here in New Mexico anyway. So I just need to know about the severance pay, how much I'm going to get. I was being a douche, but I already knew what was going to happen and I wanted it to happen because I'm like, just hurry up along. I hated going to work every single day knowing that, I was already done. But I still was collecting that paycheck because I needed it. So I still got paychecks when I was in Seattle because they were behind in paychecks and I was getting unemployment too. So I was like, this is great. And I got a severance as well. So I'm like, perfect. The severance paid for our trip all the way up. So it paid for us to go from New Mexico. They basically paid us to go up to Seattle, rental truck, towed the car. Well, actually, Noelle drove. I was going to tow the car. Paid for everything, gas, everything. Like hotel stays, everything was paid for because of the other job being silly. So anyhow, we end up having to rent that house out. So today we finally, a long story, 8 minutes later, we finally sold that house. Actually, we sold it a few days ago, but Noelle didn't want to celebrate because she's always thinking, things ain't going to work out. And sometimes that does happen. I mean, we were intentionally selling the house, originally going to sell that house sooner, actually 6 years ago. Didn't work out, right? So the people that were there were renting, and we were like, that's cool. That's fine. You're helping us pay the balance down and a little extra money. So I'm like, whatever. But now it's like, it's a good time to sell. Houses there are harder to come by. We don't know what the market's going to be like in the next little bit of time. So I'm like, you know what? I'd rather just have all of everything, all of my assets right here where I can look at it, manage it, deal with it. And so we had a realtor that got it done like that. So I had the conversation 2 weeks ago of selling the house. So house sold, got the money today. Just like that. I actually met with the title company yesterday on the front porch and signed all the documents, all the paperwork, all that stuff was done. It was expensive because it's just, that's silly. They had to have a notary come here and all that. It was expensive. But I wasn't going to fly all the way back to New Mexico to sign some documents, and Noelle would have to be there too. Like, it was just silly. So anyway, paid all that. Excuse me. That was a bad burp. Paid all that and got the money today, and we're really and truly happy with it. Now, that house had a lot of memories, obviously, because during that time in New Mexico, Noelle was pregnant with Zara. So Zara got to experience Albuquerque a little bit, right? What's crazy is that in Albuquerque, when we first visited, because my company sent me out there, Zoe stood up for the first time. You know, kind of pretty good. She stood up for the first time in the hotel in Albuquerque. And that was a pretty interesting thing. When we flew out to Seattle, little Zarbine was young at the time, and she stood up kind of for the first time in the hotel in Seattle. And so it was a pretty cool set of circumstances how those things worked out. But anyhow, the saga of New Mexico is over. Not a saga, I wouldn't say it's that, but all of our business there is done completely. Right? We got rid of everything. Everything's good. Now we're focused on everything here. We got word from the governor that we probably will be able to start business up again January 1st. Now, things can change between now and then, but it's looking like January 1st, or not January, June 1st is going to be the day that we're able to open up. And I think that that's going to be a good move for us. We've been preparing behind the scenes of things to do. We updated the website, got a whole new, brand new web page and everything. So all of that's going online today. We did a lot of stuff today, a lot of stuff in the background to actually move forward. So we're really looking forward to the future. We're working with the Chamber of Commerce. We get to talk to the city actually next Tuesday. So I'm excited about that to see if we can get better things in Tacoma for smaller businesses and micro businesses. But anyway, it's a long story. Just wanted to give you guys an update. I'm celebrating with a beer because that wine, I can't do it. On the sale of the house. Hope you guys join our Discord. Hope you're having a great day. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I will see you. Take care.